The stars were quiet tonight in the council chamber. High above the planet Zephyros Prime, the massive space station turned slowly in its orbit. Inside the great metal halls, beings from 12 different worlds gathered to make decisions that would affect billions of lives across the galaxy. Overseer Kethver stood at the center of the circular room. His tall, thin body cast a long shadow on the polished floor. His forearms moved as he spoke, and his large black eyes scanned the faces of the other council members. Each one represented a different species, a different world, a different way of thinking, but they all shared one thing in common. They believed they were the smartest beings in the galaxy. For 3,000 years, Zephyrian Council had kept peace among the stars. They did not do this through kindness or friendship. They did it through control. When a new species was discovered, the Council would study them. They would learn their weaknesses. Then they would slowly take over their world without the species. Even knowing what was happening, the method was always the same. First, they would watch from far away using hidden ships and spy devices. Then they would make contact through friendly alien species who worked for the Council. These puppet species would offer gifts and technology. The new species would become dependent on these gifts. Soon they would give up their freedom without a fight. It had worked 17 times before. 17 different species now served the Council. Some did not even remember that they had once been free. Today, Kethver was excited. The scouts had found another new species. "Tell us about this new discovery," said Council Member Vexta. She was from the water world of Aquanus, and her blue skin gleamed under the chamber lights. Her voice made a bubbling sound when she spoke. Kethver touched a control panel with one of his 4 hands. A large screen appeared in the air above them. It showed a small blue and green planet spinning slowly in space. "The planet is called Earth," Kethver said. "It is in a small star system far from any major trade routes," the dominant species calls. Themselves, humans. Another image appeared on the screen. It showed creatures that looked somewhat like the Zephyrians, but smaller and with only 2 arms. They had strange hair on their heads and came in different colors. "They are Category 7, Kethver continued. "Technologically primitive. They still use chemical rockets to barely reach their own moon. They have not developed faster than light travel. They have not even unified their own planet. Instead, they fight among themselves in small wars." Councilmember Gorath laughed. He was a large, rock-like being from the mountain world of Crag. When he laughed, it sounded like boulders falling down a cliff. "Another easy conquest," Gorath said. "How long do you estimate before full integration?" Kethver checked his data. "Pad, standard procedure suggests 18 months for initial contact through our puppet species. 2 years for technological dependency. Full integration within 5 years. The other council members nodded in agreement. This was how it always went. First contact, then gifts, then dependency, then control. It was a system that had never failed, but Scout Commander this looked worried. She was a small, quick-moving creature from the forest world of Verdania. Her green skin could change color when she was nervous, and right now it was turning a pale yellow. Overseer Thesis said quietly, "There are some unusual readings in my reports." Kethver turned his black eyes toward her. "Explain." Eyes touched her own control panel. New images appeared on the screen. These showed human cities, human vehicles, and human technology. "The humans show several abnormal patterns," she said. "When faced with problems, they do not follow logical solutions. Instead, they create new solutions that should not work but somehow do work." "Give us an example," said Vexta. "They wanted to fly, but they do not have wings," Thysis explained. "Most species would accept this limitation. Humans built machines that fly better than most natural flying creatures. They wanted to travel underwater, so they built metal fish. They wanted to see distant objects, so they built eyes that can see across their entire star system. Simple technological development," Kethver said with a wave of his hand. "Nothing unusual. But that is not all," Thysis continued. Her skin was now bright yellow with worry. "They show extreme adaptability. Humans live in frozen wastelands, burning deserts, high mountains, and deep underwater. No other species can survive in so many different environments. Environmental adaptation is common among primitive species, said Council Member Zix. He was a tall, thin being from the desert world of Eridon. It means nothing. Thysis shook her head. There is more. Humans display unusual cooperation patterns. When threatened, instead of following their strongest leader, they work together in ways that make no logical sense. Small groups of humans have defeated much larger forces by using unexpected tactics. You worry too much, Scout Commander, Kethfer said. Every species has some unique traits. It changes nothing. Humans are Category 7. They will follow the same pattern as all the others. But was not finished. Overseer, there is one more thing. Human literature and entertainment shows an unusual obsession with scenarios where primitive beings defeat advanced civilizations. They seem to enjoy stories where the underdog wins against impossible odds. 8. The chamber fell silent. For a moment, then Gorath laughed again. Fantasy stories, he said. All primitive species tell themselves tales of glory. It means nothing. Kethfer nodded in agreement. Scout Commander, Thesis, your concerns are noted but irrelevant. We will proceed with standard integration protocol. The Veltari diplomatic corps will make initial contact within 6 months. The Veltari were perfect for first contact missions. They looked friendly and harmless, with their soft fur and large, gentle eyes. Most species trusted them immediately. What these species did not know was that the Veltari had been under Council control for over 800 years. Begin Phase 1 immediately, Kethfer ordered. Full surveillance and cultural analysis. I want to know everything about human, psychology, technology, and social structures before we make contact. The council members began to leave the chamber, each returning to their own ships and worlds. Soon, only Kethfer and Desis remained. Overseer, Desis said softly. What if we are wrong about the humans? Kethfer turned all 4 of his arms toward her. His black eyes seemed to grow larger. Scout Commander, in 3,000 years, the Council has never been wrong about a species. Humans are just another primitive civilization that will soon serve the greater galactic order. Do not let their unusual traits cloud your judgment. Thysis nodded, but her skin remained yellow as she left the chamber. Kethfer stood alone, looking. At the image of Earth, on the big screen, a small blue planet looked so peaceful as it spun in the darkness of space. Soon, it would be another jewel in the Council's crown. Another species to control and use. He had no idea that he was looking at the beginning of the end of everything the Council had built. Far below on the planet's surface, in cities and towns across Earth, humans were going about their daily lives. They worked, they played, they argued, they loved, they dreamed. Looked up at the stars and wondered if they were alone in the universe. They would not wonder much longer. 3 years had passed since the Council first discovered Earth. The surveillance phase was complete. Every major human city had been watched. Every government had been studied. Every piece of technology had been analyzed and catalogued. Kethfer stood in his private office aboard the Council station. The walls were covered with data screens showing information about humanity. Population numbers, resource locations, military capabilities, cultural patterns. Everything the Council needed to begin their conquest. The door opened with a soft hiss. Ambassador Felinai entered the room. She was Veltari, with soft gray fur and large, innocent-looking eyes. Her species had been the Council's diplomatic tool for 8 centuries. To most beings in the galaxy, the Veltari appeared to be independent traders and explorers. Very few knew they were actually Council slaves. The human governments have agreed to the meeting, Filani reported. Her voice was gentle and musical, the way all Veltari voices were. They are very excited about first contact with an alien species. Kethfer smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Excellent. And they suspect nothing about our true intentions. All Overseer. They believe we are simply curious explorers who want to share knowledge and culture. Filone paused. I must report something unusual. Kethfer's smile faded. What kind of unusual? The humans did not react the way our projections suggested they would. When we first contacted their leaders, we expected fear, confusion, or religious panic. Instead, they seemed prepared. Prepared how Filoni touched a small device on her wrist. A holographic display appeared in the air between them. It showed recordings of human leaders during the first contact communications. Watch their faces, Filoni said. Look at their body language. Kethfer studied the images. The human leaders looked surprised, yes, but not shocked, not afraid. They asked intelligent questions about Veltari technology, culture, and intentions. They wanted to know about other species in the galaxy. They requested detailed information about interstellar politics and trade. They are curious, Kethfer said. That is normal for a primitive species meeting advanced beings. But look at this, Filoni continued.
Ow!
The display changed to show human scientists examining Veltari gifts. Small technological devices that were meant to make humans dependent on alien technology. Kethfer watched as the human scientists took apart every device. They studied each component carefully. They drew diagrams. They built copies. They tested different materials. They're learning from our gifts, Filoni said, but not in the way we expected. Instead of becoming dependent, they are trying to understand how everything works. That will not matter, Kethfer said. Our technology is centuries ahead of theirs. They cannot possibly understand it fully. The display changed again. Now it showed a human laboratory. Scientists were working with devices that looked very similar to Veltari technology, but somehow different. Overseer, Filoni said quietly. They built this in 3 months. Kethfer stared at the screen. What he was seeing should not be possible. The humans had not just copied the Veltari devices. They had improved them. The human versions were smaller, more efficient, and apparently more powerful. This must be an error in our surveillance, Kethfer said. No species has ever reverse-engineered our technology so quickly. I thought so too, Filoni replied. So I double-checked everything. The recordings are accurate. Humans have not only understood our technology, they have made it better. Kethfer felt a cold sensation in his stomach. This was not how conquest was supposed to work. The subject species was supposed to become dependent on council gifts, not improve them. What else, he asked. They are asking questions about faster-than-light communication, Filoni said. They want to know how we send messages across the galaxy instantly. You did not tell them, did you? Of course not. But Overseer, I think they may not need us to tell them. Some of their scientists are working on theories that come very close to the real principles. Kethfer walked to the large window that looked out into space. In the distance, he could see Earth's small yellow sun. Such a tiny, insignificant star. How could the beings living near it be causing so much trouble? There's more, Filoni continued. The humans are not just studying our technology. They are studying us. What do you mean? They ask many questions about Veltari society. They want to know about our government, our history, our relationship with other species. Some of their questions are very specific. Kethfer turned back to face her. Give me an example. They asked why Veltari explorers always travel the same routes. They asked why we never mention our home world. They asked why all Veltari ships carry the same type of communication equipment. Each question hit Kethfer like a physical blow. Yes. These were exactly the questions that no species should ask. No species had ever noticed these patterns before. Did you tell them? I gave the standard responses. But Overseer, I do not think they believed me. Their facial expressions suggested they thought I was lying. Kethfer began to pace around the room. His forearms moved nervously as he walked. This was wrong. Everything was wrong. Humans were supposed to be grateful for alien contact. They were supposed to accept Veltari friendship without question. They were supposed to become dependent on council technology. Instead, they were learning, questioning, and investigating. Begin Phase 2 immediately, Kethfer ordered. Filoni looked surprised. Overseer, Phase 2 is economic pressure and subtle sabotage. Are you sure we should escalate so quickly? Humans are adapting too fast. We need to slow down their development before they become a real problem. What kind of sabotage should we perform? Kethfer thought for a moment. Target their communication systems, make their computers fail, cause problems with their power networks. make it look like accidents, but frequent enough to damage their progress.
Right.
And if they detect the sabotage, they will not detect it. Number. Primitive species has ever detected our interference techniques. But even as he said the words, Kethfer felt doubt growing in his mind. Humans had already done several things that no primitive species should be able to do. What if they detected the sabotage? What if they traced it back to its source? There is one more thing, Overseer, Felinae said. Something that may be important. What? The humans have begun sharing information about us with all their governments. In the past, when we contact a new species, their governments usually keep the contact secret or fight among themselves about what to do. Humans are doing the opposite. They are working together. Kethfer stopped pacing. Working together how? They have created something they call the First Contact Committee. Representatives from every major human government are sharing all information. About us, they are making decisions as a unified group. This was the worst news yet. Divided species were easy to control. Unified species were dangerous. In 3,000 years, the Council had never encountered a species that unified in response to first contact. Begin Phase 2 immediately, Kethfer repeated. Prepare Phase 3 protocols. Phase 3. But that is military action, surely. We will not need ... double quotes, just prepare the protocols, Ambassador. I hope we will not need them, but humans are proving to be more troublesome than expected. After Felinae left, Kethfer stood alone in his office. He looked at the data screens covering his walls. All the information about humanity looked the same as it had 3 years ago. Population, 7 billion. Technology level, primitive. Capability, limited to their own planet. But something had changed. Something important. For the first time in 3,000 years. Kethfer was not completely confident that the Council's plan would succeed. He touched a control panel and opened a communication. Channel 2 Scout Commander these. Scout Commander, he said when her image appeared on the screen. I want you to increase surveillance on Earth. Focus on their scientific research and military development. Is there a problem, Overseer? Kethfer hesitated. Perhaps. The humans are adapting faster than our models predicted. Dice's skin began to change color, shifting from green to yellow. Overseer, should we consider the possibility that humans are not Category 7? Absolutely not, Kethfer said quickly. They are. Still primitive, they still lack faster-than-light travel. They are still confined to one planet. Simply need to adjust our timeline. But as he closed the communication channel, Kethfer wondered if he was trying to convince Theses or himself. In the distance, Earth's small sun continued to shine. And on the planet circling that sun, 7 billion humans continued to work, learn, and ask questions that no one was supposed to ask. The sabotage began on a Tuesday morning in London. Every computer in the city's financial district suddenly crashed at exactly 9 o'clock. The same thing happened in New York an hour later, then Tokyo, then Moscow. Within 24 hours, major computer systems had failed in every important human city. Kethfer watched the reports from his office with satisfaction. Finally, things were going according to plan. The humans would spend months trying to fix their computers. Their technological progress would slow down. They would become more dependent on Valtteri assistance. Excellent work, he told his technical team. Continue with power grid failures tomorrow, then communication satellites next week. But the satisfaction did not last long. 2 days later, Scout Commander Thesis appeared on his communication screen. Her skin was bright yellow with alarm. Overseer, she said. We have a problem. What kind of problem? The humans have fixed all their computers. Not only fixed them, but improved them. Their new systems are running faster than before the sabotage. Kethfer stared at the screen. That is impossible. Our sabotage programs are designed to cause permanent damage. That is what I thought too. But look at this. Thesis sent him a data file. It showed recordings from human laboratories and computer centers. Kethfer watched human technicians working on damaged systems. They did not just repair the computers. They studied the sabotage programs. They figured out how the programs worked. Then they built better defenses. How long did this take? Kethfer asked. 18 hours for the repairs. Another 6 hours for the improvements. Kethfer felt that cold sensation in his stomach again. No species had ever analyzed Council's sabotage program so quickly. Most species could not even detect that sabotage had occurred. There is more, these is continued. They know the sabotage was deliberate. How do you know? Because they told us. Dices sent another file. This one showed a meeting between human leaders and Ambassador Filoni. Kethfer watched as a human woman in a dark suit looked directly at Filoni and spoke in a calm, steady voice. Ambassador, we know that someone tried to damage our computer systems yesterday. We know it was not an accident. We know it was a coordinated attack using advanced technology. We would like to know if the Veltari have any information about who might have done this. Kethfer saw Filoni's ears twitch nervously. We have no knowledge of any attacks on human systems. The human woman smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Of course, we just thought we should ask. The recording ended. They know we did it, Kethfer said. It gets worse, Desis replied. After the computer attacks, humans did something unexpected. Instead of asking for our help to fix the damage, they started working together in ways we have never seen before. What do you mean? Every human government has shared all their information about the attacks. Their best computer experts from different countries are working as one team. Their military leaders are having daily meetings. They are acting like they are preparing for war. War? Against who? Against whoever attacked their computers? Kethfer began to pace around his office. This was not how sabotage was supposed to work. Subject species were supposed to become confused and helpless when their technology failed. They were supposed to beg for alien assistance. We're not supposed to unite and prepare for battle. Continue with the power grid attacks, he ordered. Overseer. Are you sure that is wise? Yes. Humans may be more adaptable than expected, but they still need electricity to run their civilization. Cut their power, and they will have to accept our help. The power attacks began that night. Major electrical systems failed across North America. Humans would wake up to darkness and chaos. But when the sun rose, power was already back on. Thesis called Kethfer immediately. They fixed everything in 6 hours, she reported. An overseer, they did something else. They traced the attack back to its source. Impossible. Our attack systems are completely untraceable. That is what I thought. But somehow, humans have detected the origin points of all our sabotage signals. Kethfer felt fear for the first time in centuries. What did they do with this information? They sent us a message. A new screen appeared in Kethfer's office. It showed a human man in a military uniform. The man looked tired, but his eyes were hard and determined. To whoever is listening, the man said, "We know you are watching us. We know you have been attacking our systems. We know these attacks are coming from 3 specific locations in space." The man held up a data pad. "We have mapped your positions. We've analyzed your technology. We have prepared responses." The man leaned closer to the camera. "We do not know who you are or why you are doing this. We want you to understand something very clearly. We are not helpless. We are not afraid, and we do not forgive attacks on our people." The message ended. Kethfer stood in shocked silence. Humans had not only detected the sabotage, they had traced it back to its source. They had found the Council's hidden monitoring stations. They had done something that was supposed to be impossible. "There is more," the Sis said quietly. "More. The humans have started building something. We are not sure what it is, but construction has begun at sites all around their planet. Large construction projects using materials and designs we do not recognize." Show! New images appeared on the screen. Kethfer saw massive construction sites in deserts, mountains, and remote islands. Thousands of humans were working day and night on structures that looked like nothing in the Council's databases. How long have they been building these? Construction? Started immediately after the power attacks. It is like they were already prepared with detailed plans. Kethfer felt a terrible understanding beginning to form in his mind. They knew. They knew we would attack them. It appears so, Overseer. But how? How could they know? I think Dices said carefully that humans may be better at understanding alien psychology than we thought. The communication ended, leaving Kethra alone with his fears. He walked to the great window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere among those distant lights was Earth, and on Earth were 7 billion humans who had just proved they could not be controlled. He opened a new communication channel. "This is Overseer Kethfer. I am calling an emergency council session. We have a Category 0 situation." Category 0 was a classification that had never been used before. It meant a species that could not be conquered through normal means. It meant a species that posed a potential threat to the council itself. Within hours, representatives from all 12 council species had gathered in the Great Chamber. They listened in growing alarm as Kethfer described what had happened. Said Council Member Goreth, "No primitive species can trace our sabotage systems." "The evidence is clear," Kethfer replied. "Humans have capabilities we did not expect." "Then we escalate to Phase 3, said Vextha, "military conquest." "I do not think that is wise, Scout Commander These," said from her position at the back of the chamber. "Humans have shown they adapt to every challenge we present. If we attack them militarily, they may adapt to that as well." "Ridiculous," Gorath rumbled. "They have no space fleet. They have no weapons that can reach beyond their own atmosphere. One battle cruiser could destroy their entire civilization." But Kethfer was remembering the human construction projects. "What if those structures they are building are weapons?" "Primitive weapons," Gorath said. "What could they possibly build that would threaten us?" As if in answer to his question, alerts began sounding throughout the council station. The duty officer's voice echoed through the chamber. "Emergency alert. Unknown energy signatures detected from the Earth system. Multiple launches confirmed." Every council member turned to look at the main display screen. It showed the space around Earth. Dozens of small objects were rising from the planet's surface, moving faster than any human rocket should be able to move. "What are those?" Vexa asked. Kethford checked the sensor readings. They appeared to be ... messages. Messages? Communication pods? They are heading for our monitoring stations. The council members watched in silence as the human pods reached the secret stations that had been watching Earth for 3 years. Stations that were supposed to be completely hidden and undetectable. A new voice filled the chamber. It was a human voice, speaking in clear, simple words. "Hello. We know you are there. We know you have been watching us. We know you have been attacking us. We would like to talk." The voice paused. "We're sending representatives to your main facility. They will arrive in 72 hours. We suggest you prepare a meeting room. We have many things to discuss." Message ended. The chamber fell silent. "How do they know where our main facility is?" whispered Zix. Kethfert looked at the display screen. It showed several human pods changing course, heading directly for the council station. "I think," he said. "Quietly, we are about to find out." The human ships arrived exactly when they said they would. Kethfer watched from the council station's main viewing deck as 3 small vessels approached. They looked nothing like any spacecraft in the council's databases. The ships were sleek and silver, with strange energy patterns flowing across their hulls. "How are they moving so fast?" asked Councilmember Vexa. Her blue skin had turned pale with worry. "Unknown," replied the station's chief engineer. "Their propulsion system does not match any known technology. It appears to be based on principles we do not understand." Kethfer felt his 4 hands shaking. 3 years ago, humans could barely reach their own moon. Now they were crossing space faster than some council vessels. "Are they armed?" he asked. "We cannot tell. Our ships have some kind of shielding that blocks our scanners." The human ship stopped just outside the station's defense perimeter. A communication signal came through on all frequencies. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Compact. We request permission to dock and speak with council leadership." Kethri looked around the viewing deck. Every council member was present, and every one of them looked terrified. In 3,000 years, no species had ever come to the council station uninvited. No species had ever spoken to them as equals. "Grant them docking permission," Kethfer said finally. "But activate all security protocols." "Sir, should we contact the fleet?" Kethfer thought about it. The Council had a powerful military fleet stationed nearby. One signal could bring 100 warships to defend the station. But something told him that would be a mistake. No, he said. Let them dock. An hour later, Kethver stood in the main conference room. Round the circular table sat representatives from all 12 council species. They were the rulers of the galaxy, the masters of a dozen star systems, the controllers of billions of lives. They were all afraid. The door opened, and 3 humans walked in. The first was a woman in a dark blue uniform. She was tall and thin, with short brown hair and calm eyes. This was Captain Chen, the one who had spoken over the radio. The second was a man in a white coat. He carried a small device in his hands and looked around the room with great interest. His name tag said Dr. Martinez, Xenobiology. The third was an older woman in a gray suit. She had silver hair and the kind of face that suggested she had spent many years making difficult decisions. She introduced herself as Director Williams. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, Director Williams said as she sat down. Her voice was polite but firm. We have much to discuss. Kethver tried to maintain his authority. You've traveled a long way to speak with us. What do you want? Director Williams smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. We want you to stop attacking our planet. We have not attacked your planet, Kethver replied. The Veltari are peaceful explorers who came to share knowledge and friendship. Dr. Martinez looked up from his device. Actually, you have attacked us 17 times in the past 6 months. Computer, viruses, power grid, sabotage, communication, interference, and attempted manipulation of our weather systems. He held up his device. We have traced every attack back to your hidden monitoring stations. We have recorded the energy signatures of your sabotage programs. We've even captured some of your spy drones. Captain Chen placed a small metal object on the table. This is one of your surveillance devices. We found it attached to one of our communication satellites. Very advanced technology. She paused. We improved it. The device on the table began to glow. Suddenly, every screen in the conference room lit up with information. The humans had accessed the Council's own computer systems. How did you do that? Gasped Vextha. We studied your technology, Dr. Martinez said simply. It is very sophisticated, but it follows logical principles. Once we understood the principles, improvement was straightforward. Director Williams leaned forward. Here is what we know. You are not peaceful explorers, you are conquerors. You have done this to 17 other species before us. You watch them, you manipulate them, you make them dependent on your technology, and then you control them. The conference room fell silent. No species had ever figured out the Council's true methods so completely. You made one mistake, Director Williams continued. You assumed we would react like the other species. You assumed we would be grateful for your gifts and ask for more help when you attacked us. Instead, Captain Chen said, you made us angry. Kethver tried to regain control of the situation. You're still just one primitive species. We control 12 star systems. We have fleets of warships. We have resources you cannot imagine. Yes, Director Williams agreed. You have all of those things, but you have never fought humans before. Dr. Martinez touched his device again. New images appeared on the screens around the room. They showed the construction projects that humans had been building all over Earth. These are defensive installations, he explained. Each one is capable of detecting, tracking, and destroying objects anywhere in our solar system. The images changed. Now they showed larger structures being built in space around Earth. These are orbital platforms. We built them using improved versions of your own technology. They are armed with weapons based on principles we learned from studying your ships. Captain Chen smiled. We also built these. The screen showed massive ships under construction in hidden facilities around Earth. They were larger than any human vessel should be.
No.
And their design was unlike anything in Council. Records. How? Whispered Goroth. How did you build all of this so quickly? Because Director Williams said, when you attacked us, you did something that had never happened before in human history. You gave us a common enemy. She stood up and walked to the large window that looked out into space. For thousands of years, humans have fought each other. We have had wars over land, resources, beliefs, and pride. We have never been united about anything. She turned back to face the council members. Until you attacked us. Now every human government, every human scientist, every human engineer is working toward the same goal. Protecting our planet from alien invasion. You united our entire species, Captain Chen added. 7 billion humans, all working together for the first time in our history. Dr. Martinez pulled up more images. We have reverse-engineered your faster-than-light communication technology. We've built our own surveillance network. We know the locations of all your major facilities. We know where your fleets are stationed, Captain Chen said. We know which species serve you willingly and which ones are forced to obey, Director Williams added. Kethfer felt the last of his confidence disappearing. What do you want from us? Simple, Director Williams replied. Leave us alone. Remove your monitoring stations from our solar system. Stop interfering with our development, and never attack us again. And if we refuse? Director Williams looked at him with cold eyes. Then we will show you what happens when you threaten humanity. She touched a control on her wrist. The screens around the room changed to show live images from space around the council station. Human ships had appeared, not 3 ships, but dozens. They surrounded the station completely, their weapons aimed at the council's most important facility. How, Kethfer whispered. How did you get so many ships here without us detecting them? Stealth technology, Dr. Martinez said. Based on improvements to your own cloaking systems. Director Williams sat back down. We did not come here to destroy you. We came here to deliver a message. Humanity is no longer a primitive species that you can control and manipulate. We are your equals now, Captain Chen said, and we demand to be treated as such. The room fell silent, except for the hum of the station's life support systems. Around the table, the rulers of the galaxy sat in stunned silence. Finally, Kethfer spoke. What guarantee do we have that you will not attack us? The same guarantee you gave us, Director Williams replied. None. She stood up again. But here's what I will tell you. Humans do not want to conquer the galaxy. We do not want to rule over other species. We just want to be left alone to develop in peace. However, Captain Chen added, if anyone attacks Earth again, they will discover what humans are truly capable of when we are angry. The 3 humans walked toward the door. Before leaving, Director Williams turned back one more time. And one more thing. We will be establishing embassies on several worlds throughout the galaxy. We want to meet the other species you control. We think they might be interested in learning about freedom. The door closed behind them, leaving the council members alone with their fears. Outside the station, human fleet began to withdraw. But everyone knew they could return at any time. The age of human isolation was over. The age of council dominance was ending. And somewhere in the galaxy, 17 enslaved species were about to learn that they were no longer alone. 6 months had passed since the humans came to the council station. Everything had changed. Kethfer no longer held the title of overseer. That rank had been stripped from him by the High Council. Now he wore the simple gray uniform of a liaison officer. His job was to communicate with the humans and try to prevent any further disasters. He stood in his small office, which was much smaller than his old command center. The walls were covered with reports about human activities across the galaxy. None of the reports were good news for the council. The door chimed, and Scout Commander This entered. She was now the highest-ranking intelligence officer in the council. Promoted after Kethfer's demotion, her skin was a worried shade of yellow, as it had been constantly for the past 6 months. The weekly report, she said, placing a datapad on his desk. Kethfer picked up the pad and began to read. Each line made him feel sicker. Humans have established embassies on 47 worlds, he read aloud. They have made contact with all 17 species under council control. They have shared faster-than-light communication technology with 12 of those species. He looked up at these as, how is this possible? How are they moving so quickly? They are using improved versions of our own technology, Thesis replied. But they are not just copying our designs. They're making them better, faster, more efficient. Kethfer continued reading. The Aquinas rebellion has spread to 6 worlds. The crag mining colonies have declared independence. The Verdanian forest worlds have expelled all council representatives.
I
Dices said quietly. Show me the worst part. Kethver scrolled down to the bottom of the report. A Veltari have requested human protection. They want to break their art, contract with the council, and become independent again. This was the most painful news of all. The Veltari had been the council's most loyal servants for 800 years. They had been perfect diplomatic tools because they truly believed they were helping to maintain galactic peace. Now they knew the truth about their slavery, and they wanted freedom. How did the humans convince them? Kethver asked. They did not need to convince them, Thesis replied. They simply told them the truth. They showed them records of what the council has done to other species. They explained how the Veltari have been used as tools of conquest, and the Veltari believed them. The humans provided proof, documents, recordings, evidence that could not be denied. Kethver set down the datapad and walked to his small window. Outside, he could see human ships docked at the council station. They came and went freely now, as if they owned the place. How many species have joined the humans? He asked. 14 so far. 3 others are considering it. That leaves us with ... 2 species still under full council control. The rock miners from Crag and the desert dwellers from Eridon. Kethver turned back to face Thesis. What about our military fleets? Half of our ships have been decommissioned. The crews have been reassigned to civilian duties. The remaining ships are used only for defense and emergency rescue operations. On whose orders? Human orders. The words hit Kethver like a physical blow. The Council, rulers of the galaxy for 3,000 years, was now taking orders from a species they had discovered only 4 years ago. How did this happen? He whispered. The Sis consulted her own datapad. The humans made their intentions very clear after the embassy meetings. Any species that wanted freedom could have it. Any species that wanted to maintain the old system could do so. But no species would be forced to serve the Council against their will. And when we refused to accept this, the humans demonstrated their military capabilities. Kethver remembered that demonstration. Human ships had appeared simultaneously in the home systems of all 12 Council species. They had not attacked, they had not threatened. They had simply shown that they could reach any Council world at any time. The message was clear. The Council could accept the new reality, or they could be removed from power entirely. What about the High Council? Kethver asked. 3 members have retired. 2 others have joined human diplomatic missions. The remaining 7 are working with human advisors to transition the remaining Council territories to independence. A soft chime indicated an incoming message. This is checked her communicator. It is from the human embassy, she said. Director. Williams wants to meet with you. Kethver felt his stomach tighten. He had met with Director Williams several times over the past months. Each meeting had brought more changes, more restrictions on Council power, more evidence of human control over galactic affairs. What does she want now? She did not say. But there is a human delegation waiting in Conference Room 7. Straightened his uniform and tried to maintain some dignity. Very well. Let us see what the humans want this time. Conference Room 7 was much smaller than the Grand Council chamber, where the species rulers used to meet. It had a simple table, basic chairs, and no decorations. The humans preferred practical spaces over impressive ones. Director Williams sat at the head of the table. Captain Chen was beside her, along with Dr. Martinez and 2 other humans Kethver did not recognize. Thank you for coming, Director Williams said, as Kethver and Thesis took their seats. We have some important matters to discuss. What kind of matters? Kethver asked. The future of the Council, Captain Chen replied, and your role in the new galactic order. Dr. Martinez activated a holographic display above the table. It showed a map of the galaxy with different colored zones. As you can see, he said, the old Council territories have been reorganized. 14 species have chosen independence with human support. 2 species have chosen to maintain limited Council membership. What about us? Thesis asked. What about the Zephyrians? That depends, Director Williams said, on what you choose to do One of the new humans spoke up. Her name tag identified her as Admiral Torres. The Zephyrian species has 3 options. First, you can join the new Galactic Cooperative as an equal member. Second, you can remain independent but agree to the new non-interference treaties. Third, you can continue trying to maintain the old system. What happens if we choose the third option? Kethfer asked. Admiral Torres looked at him with cold eyes. Then you will be classified as a hostile government and treated accordingly. Director Williams leaned forward. But we hope you will choose one of the first 2 options. The Zephyrian people are intelligent and capable. They could contribute greatly to the new galactic community. As equals? Thesis asked. As equals, Captain Chen confirmed. No species rules over others. No species is forced to serve. Every world makes its own decisions about government, trade, and development. Dr. Martinez touched the holographic display. New images appeared, showing bustling spaceports, mixed crews of different species working together, and trade ships moving freely between star systems. This is what we have built in the past 6 months, he said. Free trade, open communication, shared technology, and mutual defense agreements. It is working better than the old system, Admiral Torres added. Economic growth is up in every former council territory. Scientific research has accelerated. Even art and culture are flourishing now that species are free to express themselves. Kethfer stared at the images. This was not what he had expected. When the council lost power, he had thought the galaxy would fall into chaos. Instead, it seemed to be becoming more prosperous and peaceful. There is one more thing, Director Williams said. We want to offer you a position in the new government. What kind of position, cultural advisor? Your species has extensive knowledge about galactic history and different alien cultures. That knowledge could be very valuable in helping species work together. You want me to work for humans? No, Captain Chen said. I want you to work with humans. And with Veltari and Aquanis and Verdanians and all the other species. Partners, not servants. Kethfer looked at Thesis, then back at the humans. What guarantee do we have that humans will not become the new rulers of the galaxy? Director Williams smiled. It's the same guarantee that we gave the council. None. She paused. But I will tell you this. Humans do not want to rule the galaxy. We tried ruling our own planet for thousands of years, and it caused nothing but war and suffering. We learned that cooperation works better than domination. Besides, Dr. Martinez added, we are too busy exploring to worry about ruling. Do you know how many new star systems we have discovered in the past 6 months? How many new species we have made peaceful contact with? How many new technologies we are learning? Admiral Torres stood up. The offer remains open. Take your time to decide. But remember that the old system is gone forever. The only question is whether you want to be part of building something better. The humans began to leave the conference room. As Director Williams reached the door, she turned back one more time. Owen Kethfer. Thank you. For what? For trying to conquer us? If you had not attacked Earth, humans might have stayed isolated for centuries. Your invasion forced us to unite, to develop advanced technology, and to reach for the stars. She smiled. In trying to destroy us, you gave us exactly what we needed to become who we were meant to be. The door closed, leaving Kethfer alone with his thoughts. Outside the window, ships from dozens of different species moved peacefully through space. Former enemies worked together. Former slaves were now free. The galaxy was changing in ways no one could have predicted. And at the center of it all were the humans. The species that was supposed to be primitive and easy to control. The species that had turned the entire galactic order upside down in less than 4 years. Kethfer picked up a datapad and began to write his resignation from the council. It was time to join the new galaxy. It was time to learn what freedom meant. After all, the humans had taught him one very important lesson. Sometimes the best way to survive is to admit when you have been completely wrong.